Hi, good morning. Um, Gail asked me to come in and talk about how I self-published my book. So I'm just going to give it a couple of minutes, just if people want to join, and just, hi, all right. So yeah, like I said, I'll just give it a minute or two just to see if people want to join in. Hello, Gail. I'm presuming you're not having your baby if you're watching. I was just saying, I'm just going to give it a minute until and just see who comes on. So it was quite interesting because it's made me actually go back and sort of like review my journey. And when you think about it, and when you think, oh my God, I did that, it's actually quite amazing. Hi, Catherine, how are you? Okay, so with A Gentle Hug for the Soul, it sort of started as an idea, as all books do. And I'd gone through a really tough time, and I found that I was drawn upon all the different tools that I'd learned over sort of the previous 10 years. And hello, Camilla. And I realized that I wanted to put all of these tools together because I thought if they helped me through a tough time, then I wanted them to help other people. And that's very much sort of my purpose in life, if you like, is to help others. I've always been naturally drawn to help people. And for me, this was like an extension of doing that one-to-one. So I just, I just knew that I wanted to write it, and I was playing around with it. I remember going to a Mind, Body and Soul fair in Birmingham, and I had a chance encounter, if you like, with this man. Not like that, but I'd bought a statue of like a monk sitting, and he looked so still and peaceful. And the man selling them said, "Oh, I'll give you a reading whilst I'm here." And he said that I was meant to write. And I was meant to write a book, and that if I asked Spirit or whoever else to come through and help me, then they would. So after that, I remember driving to my friend's house, and I was trying to record different ideas. And I was thinking, oh, should it be a spiritual handbook, or what do I want it to be? And then I sort of left it again. And it wasn't until April 2018 that I finally started writing. So I had all these ideas in my head, and I thought I just need to put something down. So I wrote 5,000 words that morning. I didn't get out of bed. I had a proper pajama day where I was like, I'm not doing anything else. I'm just going to sit and write. And I just basically like emptied my mind of all these different ideas. And sometimes it might just be like, it was just a word or a heading, because I knew I wanted to write something about it, but I hadn't yet decided what it was going to be. And then I'd met up with Gail and had another brain dump where we just got all the different ideas, and it started to look then like a book, because it was like, well, there's a bit of structure here, do you know what I mean? And there's different chapters, and I can talk about this and talk about that. So we did that. And I also found, because I was doing quite a lot of meditating, that when I was coming out of my meditations, that I felt inclined to write. So within the book, there are some bits as well, which were, if you like, channel writing that didn't come from me. So for example, like, I think it's the foreword, was very much a message for everyone. And I felt like I needed to include that in my book, because it's a part of, who I am and what I do. And then, so I carried on just writing, and then I woke up one morning at about 5:00, 4:30, and I couldn't sleep. And I was scrolling through Facebook, as you do, and I found a webinar was being held about 10 minutes later by this American guy called Chandler Bolt. And he runs a self-publishing school based over in America. So I watched his webinar, which was about an hour long, and I thought, I think this is going to work for me, because I like having, a bit of structure, and I like being accountable as well. So I watched the webinar, and then I think you get a free coaching call. I thought later I'll post the link for you and in the comments. So if you want to go and have a look, you can do. So I had a free coaching call, and it sounded great. So I signed up to write my book with them. And so I got timetables. You can join a Facebook group, where there's other authors who are self-publishing as well. And I had a book coach as well, who would just basically like, it was just like talking to someone else, you know, but it was being accountable, and it was like, right, what are you going to have done then by next week? And I was like, right, well, I'm going to try and have this done. And, you know, sort of, it's difficult when you're writing a book because you've got everything else going on, you know, in like normal life. You've got your kids, or you've got like your husband, and you've got everything else to do as well. And so it's trying to keep that focus, you know, and knowing you're going to do it. So I finished writing the book in September, so it wasn't very long. And I felt as if there was nothing else to add. I thought, that's it. So I sent it back to Gail, and Gail reread it for me, and we'll cut some chunks out. And then I was saying to someone yesterday that it gets to the point towards the end where you're reading it, and you think, have I got to read this again? Do you know? And like, I love my book, but when you're forced to read it like 3 or 4 times, and you're looking for the spelling mistakes, and you're like, did I put that? Do I want to tweak that? And, you know, I think sometimes when it gets towards the end, you can procrastinate a lot and think, oh, was I meant to do that? Was I meant to do that? Should I do this? Should I have this in? But it's like, just believe that you've done it and it's ready to go. So like I said, it didn't take me that long to actually write. And I did enjoy doing the writing of it. It was the reading bit afterwards I didn't enjoy so much. And then what I realised was that I needed to, it is like a marathon, Gail. It's like mental training, do you know what I mean? And it's being disciplined as well, because it's all too easy to just say, all right, I'm going to write this book, and then leave it and just go, oh, no, I'm not. But when you're focused and you're like, right, this is the year I'm going to do it, you just get on and you do it. So like I said, it took me about, May, June, July. So about 5 months to write. You know, and it's not a massive novel. It's not like, you know, like Kate Moss's The Labyrinth or Lord of the Rings. It's not chunky, but I didn't intend it to be. I wanted it to be something that was really simple, quite short, for people to be able to understand and just get ideas of different ways and different tools that are out there that can support them. So I then needed to find a formatter. So I found a guy in the UK, because with the self-publishing school, they recommend different people, but a lot of them are American based, and because they're recommending those people, they're like, oh, I've got 3 months until I can do it. Do you know what I mean? But luckily I found a guy in the UK who formatted it. So he basically just took my Word document, converting it to the ebook and paperback style. And luckily for me, would had a bit of miscommunication, so you have to be really clear about what you want. So he converted it into both for me for the price of just converting it to one, because we'd had this miscommunication. So you have to be really clear with that. And then with the book cover, so I thought I'll show you. So with the cover, when I was self-publishing, so one of the ladies, one of my friends at school, just crack on, that's my mantra. Great mantra, Catherine. One of the mums at school actually drew this for me. So I knew in my head what I wanted, and I wanted like a watercolor style. I wanted it to look as if, you know, as if the soul was being sort of hugged or held. And I just wanted that sort of image. So I'd found something online that I liked, and I said to her, could you do something for me? So she's drawn this. And then I went through a website called 99 Designs. I don't know if you've heard of it. And you have to pay for it. I think it was a couple of £100. But what you do is you can basically provide any images that you have, or any images that you like for the cover of your book. You can give them the title, you obviously give them like a little subtitle and your name. And then you just basically put it out there. So then different, I don't even know what you call them, cover designers, is that right, Gail? I don't know if there's a technical term for them. They basically take your ideas, and you can pay, I think there's different versions. It's like a basic, a middle, and a premium one. And the basic one, it says you might end up with 10 different designs that you can choose from. But I picked the basic, but because there are so many people out there who want to sort of like get their names known, I ended up with like 50 designs to choose from. So some of them were just really, just didn't get the ethos of the book at all. So some of them were like really black and dark, and I was just like, oh no, that's not resonating with the name of the book, but thank you. So some of them I took away straight away. And then what you can do is you can then take the covers that you like and put them to the public vote. So that's what I did. So I took the covers that I thought, oh, I quite like those ones, and I think there was 4 or 5 or 6 maybe. And I put them on my energy healing page, and I asked, and I was like, right guys, these are my covers. What do you think? Do you know what I mean? Because which one would you go for? Do you know what I mean? If you like. So this was the winner. So so then you just email them and you get the copyright for your cover. They hand over all the rights and designer rights, etc. So going through 99 designs for me really worked. But like I said, it was an extra cost that I hadn't really factored in, because I hadn't really thought who was going to design my cover. I was just like, oh, I'll just write the book. Didn't think about all the extra bits. So yeah, so 99 designs was that. And then I had to upload it to Amazon as well. So once it came back from the formatters, it's because it took from the September, it took another 6 weeks. By the time, you know, me and Gail had passed it backwards and forwards and we got the words right. And then by the time it gone to the formatters, then the cover designers, it was probably about 6 weeks to get it actually, like, everything all together. And then I uploaded it to Amazon on, I think it was in October, middle of October. And it only took, I think, 48 hours or 72 hours. It's not very long from the minute that you upload your document and you upload your cover separately, and then they put it together and it's there. So what it means is that they then print on demand. Oh, thank you, Rachel. I will. Thank you, Gail. I will add the link into my book. Yeah, so what was I saying again? Oh yeah, so the print on demand. So it means then that you're not having to fork out for 500 books and then potentially keeping them somewhere. So, because I had contacted various traditional publishers beforehand, but I just thought the costs involved in the traditional publishing, I thought, what if it doesn't sell? Do you know what I mean? What if nobody likes my book? And so I didn't want to be stuck with it, if you like. And I think because I'd done a lot of the hard work as well, then I thought, I'm just going to self-publish and see what happens. So yeah, Amazon's really easy to use. Like I said, you upload your cover file, you upload your ebook, and then they take care of anything else. So when someone orders it, then it can obviously be with them if they've got Amazon Prime the next day. As the author, if you want to order author copies, so I don't even think there's a minimum, so you can order 20 or 30, which is manageable. But then that takes 2 weeks to get to you. So if you've got a fair or an event coming up and you think, oh, I really want to get some copies of my own book, just plan it in advance, because I'd planned my book launch myself and I was like, oh, I'm going to do a book launch. And I hadn't taken into account the time that it was going to take to get my books. So I still didn't have my book the day before the launch. So unfortunately, I had to postpone my book launch. And that's another thing when you self-publish as well. I didn't take into account how much PR, publicity, marketing, advertising, and everything else I would have to do just for the book, as well as, you know, everything else that I do and all the services I provide. So the other things as well when you're self-publishing to take into account is making sure that you post your book on Goodreads as well. So that's a really good platform for obviously book lovers and people who enjoy reading. If you plan your own book launch, I mean, you have to celebrate when you've taken so long to write your book and you've finally got it out there. Celebrate it, you know, get your friends together and just tell your story, how it came about, and just enjoy it. So I did mine in October or November, I think it was November. I planned my book launch, and I just did it at the Fosgate Social upstairs, and I had I think it was 12 or 13 of us. And I loved it. You know, one of the ladies in the York Women Business Group, she made me some beautiful cupcakes. Joanne Slaughter, I think her name was. Beautiful cupcakes with little hearts on. And then Kaylee Flanagan, who is a photographer, she's only 18 and she's just starting out. And so she was like, she was looking for people to photograph. I was like, oh, come along to the book launch. So she came along as well and took some photos, which was really nice to then have that sort of memory. and then I whizzed over to the York Women Business Networking evening and had a bit of a spiel there. So really enjoy it. You know, when you've actually finished writing your book, you need to enjoy it and celebrate yourself. What was the other thing? Oh, so there's other things as well that took a bit of time. So things like writing an author bio, the title. I knew from the start what my title was going to be. But if you want to write a book, don't focus too much on the title, I would say, until maybe afterwards, because you don't really know what's going to be contained in your book until the end. Does that make sense? But like I said, I had this knowing that this is what it had to be called from the beginning. So that's that one. And then you can enter it into awards as well. So think about book awards. I entered mine into the Soul and Spirit Book Awards last November, and it's been shortlisted, and I should find out next month how I've done with that. I've entered it into a Northern Book Award, and there's an online publishing company called TCK Publishing, and I've entered into that as well. So it's just about sort of like getting people to know, about your book and who you are. And the other thing I've been doing, I've been having a bit of fun with it. So I've been giving copies of this to people who are going on holiday to nice places and different places. And I've been writing in the front saying that this is a free copy, and if you feel you need a gentle hug for the soul, then this book's for you. And if you think that there's someone else who would benefit, then please pass it to them. So far it's in, I'll try and remember, but I can't remember all the places. There's a copy in Hong Kong, New Zealand, Australia, Hawaii, Colorado. One went to Argentina, but then has ended up in Louisiana. So it's really interesting, seeing where they're all going. And I'm just waiting for people to then get in touch afterwards, and say, oh, I found your book. And I did some drops before Christmas in York as well. So I put some next to Matt Haig's book in Waterstones, and I left some in W.H. Smith as well. So if anyone ever, I left one in a cafe in Acomb as well, and one in a charity shop. So do you know what I mean? I just have a bit of fun with it and just see, because you never know who's going to read it. And the other bits as well, that just to think of is, obviously the stuff on the back page you have to think about, and barcodes as well. So because I self-published and put it through Amazon, then you get an Amazon barcode for it. So what that means is that if you want it to go into sort of bigger bookstores, like Waterstones, etc., then, and correct me if I'm wrong, Gail, I think this is right, you have to buy a barcode. So what I've been doing is contacting independent sort of spiritual bookstores that have a little book section, and just saying, would you like to take a few copies and see how it goes? So I think there's currently 7 independents who have the book. So if you're in town, you can get a copy from the Zentist, and a copy from the Healing Clinic as well. That's York Centre, by the way, just in case anyone's like, where's town? What is she talking about? So in York Centre. I met a lady from Berwick, and randomly I was giving her an angel card reading, and I just said to her afterwards, I was like, so what is it you do then? She said, oh, I run an independent book. So I was like, would you like some copies of my book? She was like, I'd love some. I was like, brilliant. So you never know who you're going to meet either. And it's just about putting it out there. Do you know what I mean? Like I said, you've spent so long writing this book, then when you finish it, then you should celebrate it and just try and put it out there. I'm not going to tell you, but I've sent various copies to some very well-known people that I know would enjoy it. So I'm just waiting to hear back from them, and then I'll be able to celebrate that as well. But yeah, if anyone's got any questions, then feel free to stick them in the comments box, and I'm happy to answer any. I'll try and find my link for my book. I'm not very good at trying to do. Oh, I know where it is. Oh, am I still on? Hold on. Oh, I'm still there. Oh, sorry. Right. I'll pop the link for the book in here if anyone wants to have a look at it. trying to think if there's anything else I can tell you before. Oh, so in my book as well, so it depends what sort of book I suppose you're writing, but I did mention like a couple of people. So Yasmin Boland, who wrote a book called Moonology, I got in touch with her and I said, look, is there any chance you could, you know, have a read in my book and see what you think? And unfortunately she was like, oh, I'm moving house and I'm going to India and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. So instead I just sent her the section about the moon and how I've used it to manifest stuff. So she sent a message back, you know, saying, oh, that's fabulous, Lindsay, well done, blah blah blah. And what she did was, and what she did was she wrote about my book on her blog, which meant then that it was another audience seeing that. So she said, I'm really sorry I couldn't take the time to read it, but I'm happy to mention it because you've mentioned me in the book. So if you mention that you're using someone else's ideas or doing something, then it's always worth contacting them as well and just saying, look, is there any chance, you know, we could do something together? So how much time do you spend actively marketing now? Probably not as much as I should, Rachel, to be honest. So yeah, my word for this year is focus, because I tend to get distracted quite a lot. But what I tend to do is sort of like, so I use Twitter a lot and I love Twitter. And I often look for sort of just like, I just put hashtags in with like book reviews or authors. I had a lady in America who contacted me. She found me on Twitter and said, I'd love to review your book. Can I write about it? And I was like, yeah. So I sent her a copy off to America. And then I found as well, there's it's a not-for-profit organization in America called Women with Gifts. And she's just started like her own videos on Twitter. And she was looking for books to review. So I got in touch with her and said, oh, can I send you my book? And she was going to do the video on it, but part of the reason I wrote the book is because one of my friends, Lisa, passed away from cancer. And when this lady got her copy of the book, her cousin, Lisa, had also just passed of cancer. So she was very emotional about it. So she wrote a review for me instead. So it's just reaching out, you know, to different people who do reviews and yeah, just like I said, I don't focus 100% of my time on my book because I offer different services as well, but I just see it as like a bit of an extension of me, if that makes sense. And it's something that I can just like call upon, do you know what I mean, and pick tools out of for other things as well. So I'm running a taster Gentle Hug for the Soul workshop as part of York International Women's Week. So that's on the 3rd of March. And so I've only charged £5 just to sort of see what comes up, do you know what I mean? So we're going to do some meditations and then taking some of the tools. And yeah, I'm not even sure yet what the workshop's going to be, but that's part of it. So it's like, I just think it's another tool that you can use in your business. Let's do a follow-up. Okay, so yeah, so like Gail says, if anyone has any questions later, just feel free to tag me in the group and I'm happy to answer them. And I'll pop the link in the comments as well for the self-publishing schools. So if you want to go and have a look at that, you know, then you can do. Okay, I hope that's helped. It's not difficult. It's challenging sometimes, but writing a book for a traditional publisher, I think, would be the same. So, and I just think it's such an achievement when you finally like can hold your book and go, oh my God, I wrote that. Okay, then thank you very much, guys, for watching. And yeah, just if you're watching this later on a replay or whatever, and you've got any questions, just tag me and ask me, and I am more than happy to try and help. Thank you very much, Gail, for the opportunity to talk. Hope the baby comes soon.